And welcome to another one of my videos. And in today's video, I'm going to go through something that was posed to me by a client of mine. It's it's to do with when sadly we pass away and what we do with our collections. Now, unfortunately, we're all going to pass away at some time, so it's prudent that you've got plans in place. Otherwise, there's going to be situations where your collection may go for a lot less than it should do. And I don't think that's right. So I felt like we should address it. Now, the client said to me, he's like, Sean, can I put you down as someone trustworthy in case something happens to me? And I said no. And the reason I said no was not because I have a problem with that, but I know I'm getting out. And this type of industry, you need to have your finger on the pulse to give correct valuations. And even then, it's still hard. This line of work is very challenging in the sense that you've got to be a master of trends and you've got to be really on top of how pricing works. It's a very dynamic market and most people can't do it. That just is what it is. The very best of it make a lot of money. Now, to go into the question of what you should do when you pass away. Now, I've always been a firm believer that you need to arm people with information. And the more information that you can give your loved one when you do sadly pass away, the better they will be. So I've always been under the idea that if it goes through probate, they need to speak to as many dealers as possible. I personally wouldn't take it through social media, and I personally wouldn't take it through an auction unless there was explicit instructions about the certain types of coins. Now, the reason I wouldn't take it via social media is because when you sell on social media, it's very overwhelming. Bear in mind that your relative would have lost you as an individual. You'd you'd suspect that they'd be not in a great place. Now, some people don't get on with their relatives. It's by the by, but you'd expect that most people wouldn't be in the right frame of mind to sell a collection. They could have a lot of things going on. They might have to arrange a funeral or what, etc., etc. And in that case, the last thing they want to do is be absolutely hounded by people. And I've seen this on social media. Social media used to be an area where you had etiquette. It doesn't really have it anymore. Those kind of traditions and unwritten rules, unspoken rules, they've kind of degraded over time. So what you get is, I get it myself. People will bombard you with messages. What's your best price, mate? What's this? What's that? Blah blah blah, and they don't get back to you. And unless you've been in that arena for a long time, for me, it's water off a duck's back. For most people, that would wear them down to the point of like, I need to sell, and this person's offering me cash quickly, and it's a headache, and I don't want to deal with it. But it kind of goes against the very reason of why you stacked in the first place, and it does. You've spent your life working and you've built a store of wealth, and unfortunately your relative has sold it for sometimes a fraction of what it's worth. I would steer them away from peer to peer unless they've got experience buying and selling online. I would say don't bother with it, which leaves two options. You could take it to a dealer, which I'll run through what I would do in terms of the strategy, or you could take it to an auction house. Now, an auction house has its own pitfalls, but there are benefits to certain types of coins. So, for example, if you've got a high end numismatic collection, you take it to a specialist. Now, for those of you who've been following my videos, you would have known I bought my dream coin recently, the 1817 Sovereign. Now, I bought that for a steal, but the guy who bought it originally, he got taken to the cleaners. It leaves a bad taste in the mouth. Don't get me wrong, he was overcharged, but equally he took it to the wrong. His family took it to the wrong auction house. Now, word on the street, I say word on the street. This came via another dealer that I speak to. Apparently, they took it to two auctioneers in London. And they didn't want anything to do with it, so they went to an auctioneer closer to home. Now, I don't really know the potteries auction. I'm not familiar with it being a coin auction. I think they just landed this deal, this collection, and it probably didn't do as well as it should have done because it was ultimately the coins are at the wrong auctioneer. I'm not slating the auction house. They're there to do a job. They did their best, but you could see if you actually watched the auction. I saw some of it. The auctioneer said something that I found very telling. He's like, I've been told these are rare coins. And I thought, that's your job to know. But if he's not a specialist, he isn't going to know that. His job is just to get as high a price as he can and hope that the clients turn up. And they didn't. The guy took a kicking. And you don't want that for your relative. You want them to get the best price available. Now, I would write some notes and say, for my collection or for my stack, for your inheritance, you've got, say, the bullion coins, send it to a dealer. And you've got the specialist coins, potentially auction it. So say you've got an 1887 quintuple and it's graded and it's a proof coin. You take that to a specialist auctioneer, and I'd write down a list of auctioneers and I'd say, speak to these guys and see what they have to say. Maybe 3 auctioneers. Maybe take it to, for example, the coinery. I don't really buy from them. I've got a very good relationship with them. You know, they're great guys. Take it to maybe I can't think of the name. I genuinely can't think of the name. There's you know what? They emailed me the other day, so I will tell you, just for balance. The coin cabinet. That's the one. Take it to the coin cabinet. Take it to. I'm not doing too good on this, but take it to a specialist auctioneer. My mind just went blank on that, but please forgive me for that. I wouldn't take it to a generalist auctioneer, someone who deals with, say, for example, gold watches and ceramics and postcards and stuff like that. I don't think you'll get the best price. I wouldn't take it to a generalist coin auction. You want to go to that specialist who can get the right clients in the room, because the right clients will be all over the world bidding. It's not just in their backyard like the potteries auction, which probably was. They might have had a couple of international clients, but they didn't have the reach to maximize on those coins. Now, in terms of taking it to a dealer, probate is it leaves a bad taste in the mouth when I hear probate. People have sold to me in the past because they've got it from someone. But my experience from dealing with suppliers is that people who, dealers who buy probate see it as an easy or free lunch. Not everyone, but a few of them. There's one collection that came in via my supplier. I think my supplier was the highest bidder out of 3. And one of them offered $2,000 for it. The gentleman paid over 100k. He was terminally ill. He put it on a credit card. Credit card company smelt a rat and just went, hang on, you owe us a lot of money and we've got nothing. So it had to be sold. And that's how it ended up via my supplier at the time. Again, there's going to be dealers who pitch themselves. Maybe you've gone to the wrong dealer. Maybe the dealer's greedy. Maybe the dealer just doesn't give a shit about you or about doing the right thing. Now, for me, I've always kind of had a code in the sense that I want to pay fair prices. And because I pay fair prices, I'm a relatively wealthy man because people come to me because they know they get a fair deal. I'm not saying I always get it right, and I'm not saying I don't unearth gems in the rough, but I know what I want to make, and occasionally something will make more. So if I'm pitching it at, say, 5% for bullion and 10% for the more collectible stuff, that's fine. There's dealers out there, they'll be like, well, you know, I know the collection's worth 20 grand, but if I can get it for 5, there are dealers that will do that. And unfortunately, your relative is not going to know. So they need to take it to at least 3 dealers and say, make your best offer. You know, and obviously they've got to make money, but it takes that pressure off their shoulders if they're dealing with the funeral planning, etc., and the bills, and it's a really hard time in someone's life to deal with those things. Now, in terms of the bullion, just take it to a bullion dealer. You know, just most bullion dealers, they're within certain realms, but I would make explicit notes. These coins, bullion dealer. These coins, dealer, ? Auctioneer. Get quotes from three places. I would do it that way, because you know if they do it, they're not going to have their pants pulled down by someone who's greedy. They're not going to be taken advantage of, which is what you want, and they're going to take it to the right place to get a fair amount of money for the collection that you built up over time. Right, that's me talking for 10 minutes. I'm not allowed to drink coffee because people keep complaining about it. Apparently it sounds weird, but Yeah, I'm a bit gutted about that. I will see you on the next one. I do have some collections lined up. We shall see, but it's not a done deal till it's a done deal. I hope you found the content useful. I've also started a little black book of ideas. So basically, I'm gonna create a blueprint for everything I know, and then I'm gonna put it out there. But it's gonna take time to do that.